Get back now!
We're not moving! Come on, man! Jeff Legs!
Side!
We're not moving.
You have the right to remain silent!
Two black twins, Maya and Marcus, walk into a bar for a quiet night. But systemic racism and abuse of power soon explode when corrupt cops, led by Sergeant Mills, try to intimidate them. What begins as profiling spirals into a violent confrontation, exposing the deep-rooted bias of law enforcement, until the twins reveal their true identities as elite undercover FBI agents, turning the hunters into the hunted. Betrayal erupts as allies clash, protests rise in the streets, and the media ignites a nationwide storm, while silent bystanders finally find their voices. Resistance builds as the twins confront both the system and their own scars, until poetic justice lands with the downfall of Mills and his officers, their corruption dragged into the light, a cinematic story of racism, resilience. The door creaked as Marcus pushed it open. Warm light spilled over him and Maya as they stepped inside. Conversations faltered. Glasses froze midair. The twins exchanged a glance. They'd felt this pause 1,000 times before. Maya muttered under her breath, "Maya, same song, different stage." Marcus, low chuckle, "Ignore it. We'll grab a drink. Sit quiet." They walked toward the counter. The bartender, a thin man with graying hair, avoided eye contact. "Bartender, what'll it be?" Maya, "Whiskey, neat." "2. Bartender, hesitant. "Right." Coming up, at a corner table, 3 burly men in casual jackets whispered. Their badges weren't visible, but their stance was unmistakable. Cops off duty, drunk already. One leaned forward, voice carrying. "Cop number 1. Well, look who wandered in. Ain't this a fancy surprise?" Cop number 2. "Snickers, wrong neighborhood, don't you think?" Marcus clenched his jaw but didn't turn. Maya set her glass down carefully, eyes forward. "Maya, don't." "Marcus, I wasn't." But the men weren't content with silence. Cop number 3. "Hey, I'm talking to you too. Bars full of good folks. What brings you here?" Marcus, evenly same thing as everyone else. "A drink." Cop number 1. "A drink, huh? Don't see many like you around here." The words dripped with casual venom. The room shifted uncomfortably, but no one spoke. Maya, calm, firm. "We're not here for trouble. Enjoy your night." Cop number 2, mocking tone. "Hear that? They're not here for trouble." Leans closer to table. "But trouble has a way of following your kind." Marcus's hand tightened on his glass. He forced himself to sip, steady. Narration slipped in cold, documentary-like. They were trained agents, capable of breaking bones in seconds. But tonight they wore only the skin they were born in, and that skin was enough to make them targets. The cops laughed loudly, making sure everyone heard. Cop number 3. "Tell you what, let's make sure you're not causing problems." "Got I." Maya, flatly, "We don't need to show you anything." Cop number 1. "Oh, you do," when officers of the law ask. The bartender's hand trembled as he set down another drink, eyes darting between the twins and the cops. Bartender, "Hey, fellas, maybe just." Cop number 2 snaps, "Shut it. We got this." Marcus exhaled slowly, shoulders squared. "Marcus, we've answered enough." Cop number 1, smirking, "That's so. You think you're above the law?" Maya, "No. We think the law doesn't include harassing citizens." Maya moved instantly, stepping forward. "Maya, get your hands off him." Cop number 2, blocking her path back up. "Sweetheart." Maya, ice in her voice, "Call me that again." Cop number 2 leans close, smirking. "Sweetheart." Her fists clenched, nails biting into her palms. Every fiber screamed to fight, but she swallowed it. Not yet. Narration slipped in. They had neutralized cartel hitmen, infiltrated terror cells, but here, in the middle of an American bar, the enemy wore badges, and the danger was the color of their skin. Marcus twisted slightly, trying to stand. "Marcus," I said, "I'm not resisting." Cop number 3, pressing him back down, "Stop resisting." The absurdity rang out, a lie being manufactured, weaponized, repeated loudly for the crowd's ears. Maya, to the room, voice sharp, "You all see this? He hasn't touched them. He's not resisting." Cop number 1, snarling, "Shut up." He swiped a hand toward Maya, shoving her shoulder. She stumbled back a step, eyes blazing. Maya, steadying herself, "Lay a hand on me again, and you'll regret it." The crowd murmured louder now, whispers rolling like storm clouds. A man near the back whispered, "This isn't right," but his friend hissed, "Don't get involved." Marcus tried again, raising his voice. Marcus, you've got no cause, no warrant, no. Cop number 3 cuts him off. Shut it, boy. The words sliced through the room, cold and heavy. Even the drunkest patron flinched. Narration struck like a hammer. It wasn't law. It wasn't order. It was history. Centuries of chains, of knees on necks, of voices silenced with slurs. Tonight was another page in the same book. Maya pulled her phone from her pocket, thumb sliding to the camera. Maya, you're done. I'm recording. Cop number 2, eyes narrowing. Oh no you don't. With one swift motion, he slapped the phone from her hand. It clattered to the ground, screen splintering. The sound drew gasps like a gunshot. Maya, voice trembling with fury. That's destruction of property. You think this is still a game. Cop number 2, mocking Bo. Only game here is yours, and you're losing. Marcus surged against the chair, muscles taut. Marcus, Maya snaps at him. No, they don't get to Marcus. Quiet. Urgent. Not yet. The restraint cost him more than any fight ever had. The lead cop waved toward the door. Cop number 1, call it in. 2 resisting black suspects. Send a unit. The bartender's face went pale. Bafta, you can't do that. That's not what happened. Cop number 2, roaring at him. Say another word and you'll be in cuffs too. Narration again. The playbook was ancient. Rewrite the scene before it ended. Flood the air with lies. Choke the truth before it could breathe. And the crowd, caught between fear and conscience, stayed silent. Maya stooped, scooping her cracked phone from the ground. The screen flickered but still worked. She lifted it, recording again with shaking hands. Maya, say it again. Say he's resisting. Cop number 3, mock outrage. You're obstructing justice. Maya, fierce. No, I'm exposing it. The officer lunged to grab the phone again, but this time Maya stepped back, her FBI reflexes giving her the edge. She held it aloft. Maya, one more move, and the world sees everything. The cop froze, fist half-raised, uncertainty flickering in his eyes. Marcus, calm, deadly quiet. You really want to add assaulting a woman on camera to your night? The tension snapped like a whip. For a moment, the officers hesitated, their drunken bravado colliding with the risk of being caught, but pride overrode caution. Cop number 1, growling, put that down. All will take it by force. Maya, holding steady. Try me. Narration cut through the standoff. The twins' silence, their restraint, their refusal to play the part written for them. It didn't de-escalate. It inflamed, because men drunk on power couldn't stand defiance wrapped in dignity. The first officer pointed at Marcus, his voice rising. Cop number 1, you're under arrest for resisting, for disorderly conduct, for whatever else we damn well say. Stand up, now. Marcus's jaw tightened. He looked to Maya, her eyes sharp, her breath steady. She nodded once. Marcus, low voice to her, we'll end this the right way. The chapter ended with the sound of a distant siren growing closer. Backup called to contain a crime that didn't exist. The distant siren wailed closer, a sound meant to bring safety, now twisted into a threat. The bar's dim lights flickered across anxious faces. Some patrons clutched their drinks tighter, others stared at the floor. Nobody moved to leave. They wanted to see how far this would go, but fear kept them glued to their seats. The lead cop smirked as the door burst open. 2 uniformed patrol officers entered, hands resting on holstered guns. Their eyes swept the room, landing quickly on the scene. Marcus pinned in a chair. The night air hit like ice as the door banged open. Marcus was shoved into the cold, his wrists pinned, his chest slammed against the squad car. Red and blue lights strobed across his face, painting fury and restraint in harsh color. Maya stumbled behind, wrists cinched in zip ties, her breath sharp clouds in the frigid air. The officers fanned out, their presence a wall of authority, their voices a storm of orders. Cop number 1, spread your legs, face down on the hood. Marcus, jaw tight. You've got no right. Cop number 3, slamming him harder. Stop resisting. Marcus, through gritted teeth. I'm not resisting. Narration cut through the chaos. Every shove, every shout was choreography, a play they had rehearsed countless times. Rewrite reality with volume. Bury truth beneath repetition. Maya twisted against her restraints, fury building. Maya, you're violating rights. You know it. Patrol number 2, mocking rights don't mean much out here. The sergeant stepped forward now. Sober, older, his voice deeper, colder. Sergeant, finish it fast. Write them up. 2 suspects resisting. Same story as always. Marcus's head snapped toward him. Marcus, same story as always. Huh. That's the problem. It's always the same story. The sergeant's lips curled into a thin smile. Sergeant, and it always ends the same, with people like you in cuffs, and people like me writing the report. The words sliced deeper than the cold air. Maya's voice cut sharp across the parking lot. Maya, you think this ends with paperwork. You have no idea who you're dealing with. Cop number 1. Laughing what? You two lawyers, activists, doesn't matter. Out here, our word is gospel. Narration intruded, grim and precise. Badges had become crowns, and words, weapons. Justice wasn't blind, it was gagged and bound in the back of their cruiser. Marcus exhaled slowly, summoning calm, but rage tremored beneath the surface. Marcus, quietly to Maya, I can't hold much longer. Maya, voice low, steel in her tone, wait, just wait. The sergeant leaned close, whispering in Marcus's ear, Sergeant, you'll learn the hard way. Compliance or consequences. Marcus snaps. Finally, I've complied all night, and your consequences stop here. He shifted, twisting against the grip, pinning him. The officer stumbled, surprised by the sudden strength. Marcus didn't strike, not yet, but the warning was clear. Cop number 3, shouting he's fighting. He's Marcus, cutting him off, voice booming. I'm done letting you write my story. The parking lot fell momentarily silent, every word hanging in the icy night. Maya took a slow step forward, her restraints creaking against her wrist. Her voice, calm and deadly, sliced the silence. Maya, touch him again, and you'll regret it. The officers exchanged uncertain glances. For the first time, doubt cracked their bravado. Her tone wasn't pleading, wasn't desperate. It was a warning, controlled, precise, terrifying in its certainty. Patrol number 1, hesitating. What are you gonna do? Maya coldly, what we should have done the second you laid hands on us. Narration wrapped around her words. The line between prey and predator had shifted. Power didn't just wear a badge. Sometimes it hid in silence, biding its time, waiting for the right moment to strike. The sergeant barked again, though his voice wavered now. Sergeant, cuff them both. Double time. Officers stepped closer, but hesitation slowed their hands. The twins' eyes burned with something they couldn't name. Defiance deeper than fear. Strength beyond restraint. Marcus's voice dropped, steady as steel. Marcus, one more shove. One more insult. And this ends differently. The officers froze. The night hummed with tension. Fragile as glass. A civilian voice rang out suddenly from the doorway. The young man who had been filming earlier. Young man, it's all on camera. Every second. You can't bury this. Phones lifted again, glowing in the dark like torches. 10, then 15, hands raised, recording. The tide had shifted. Maya, to the officers, firm C, you're not invisible anymore. Cop number 2, snarling, but less certain, turn those cameras off. Crowd voice, no, we're not afraid of you. Narration struck like thunder. The silence had cracked. The community that had bowed its head finally raised it, and with their cameras, they armed themselves with the one weapon power feared most: truth. The sergeant's face paled, but his pride lashed out. Sergeant, doesn't matter. You'll still be booked tonight. Maya, smirking faintly, booked, or exposed. The moment hung heavy. Marcus's breathing slowed, his fury folding into icy calm. Marcus, you want our IDs so badly? Maya, steady then, you'll get them. The chapter ended with Maya's restrained hands lifting slightly, ready to reveal what they'd both kept hidden, the truth that would flip the night on its head. The parking lot felt like a stage. Sirens hummed low in the distance, cameras rolled, and every eye was locked on the twins. Maya's chest rose steady, her wrists still bound by the plastic ties, but her voice carried the authority of someone who had worn power for far too long to be intimidated. Maya, Marcus, nodding slightly, yeah. The chant of justice, justice, echoed into the night, bouncing off brick and glass, impossible to silence. The officers shifted uneasily, trapped beneath the glow of cell phone cameras and the sharp glint of FBI badges. The sergeant barked, desperate to seize back command. Sergeant, all units, shut this down. Disperse the crowd. Maya, cutting in careful. Every word you give now is recorded. Every command, evidence of suppression. Marcus, steady, firm, or do you want to add obstruction of justice to your growing list of crimes? Narration struck like a gavel. The mask of authority was slipping, peeling back to reveal panic beneath the badge. One patrolman whispered, voice trembling, Patrol number 1, Sarge, maybe we should stand down there. There, FBI's sergeant, snapping shut up, badges or not. They crossed the line. Marcus, icy calm, the only line crossed tonight was by you. The crowd roared in approval. Cameras tilted closer, capturing the sergeant's crimson face. A middle-aged woman in the crowd shouted, voice shaking with emotion, "Woman, this is what we go through every night. And you finally got caught." Crowd voice, "Yeah, no more cover-ups." Maya stepped forward, shoulders squared, commanding the night like a courtroom. "Maya, every action taken here will be reviewed. Every name will be written. This entire department will answer." The sergeant sneered, fighting for ground he no longer held. "Sergeant, you think the Bureau scares me? You think some outsiders can come in and tear this down? I've been running these streets 20 years. Marcus, quiet, lethal, then you know better than anyone how rotten they've become." The words hit like a blade. The sergeant flinched, the truth cutting deeper than accusation. Narration slid in. For the first time, he wasn't the predator in the shadows. He was prey, spotlighted, unable to crawl back into the dark. One officer shifted nervously, muttering under his breath. "Cop number 2, Sarge, this is bad, real bad. We're on record. The Bureau's gonna bury us." Cop number 3, hissing, "Shut your mouth before you bury yourself." Maya's voice rang out, silencing them. "Maya, no, let him speak. Fear always tells the truth." The crowd erupted again, some laughing bitterly, others clapping, their voices rising over the crackle of police radios. Crowd voice, "They're scared now. Look at M." Another. Finally, tables turned. Marcus moved closer to the sergeant, his voice sharp, surgical. "Marcus, you built your power on fear, on silence. Tonight, fear belongs to you." The sergeant's lips curled, but his hands trembled. He tried to mask it, but the cameras caught everything. "Sergeant, you won't win. You think you've exposed us. You don't know how deep this goes. Judges, politicians, whole chains of command." Maya, smirking faintly, "Perfect. The deeper it goes, the more heads will roll." Narration pressed like a drumbeat. The crowd didn't just witness a confrontation. They witnessed cracks in a fortress they thought unbreakable. One younger cop stepped forward, hesitating. Young cop to Marcus, "Is it true? You're really Bureau?" Marcus, lifting his badge again, "Steady every word. And everything you've done tonight will be filed in a federal report." Young cop, glancing at the sergeant, "Sarge, we can't cover this up. Not with them." The sergeant rounded on him, fury boiling. "Sergeant, you shut your mouth, rookie. You take orders from me." Marcus firm, cutting in, "No, tonight, he takes orders from the law." The rookie's gaze flickered, torn between fear and conscience. Finally, he stepped back, refusing to restrain the twins again. The crowd cheered Maya. "Good choice." The sergeant's voice cracked, veins bulging in his neck. "Sergeant, you think one badge makes you immune. You think this little spectacle will matter tomorrow. I'll still be here. You'll be gone." Maya, coldly then, "We'll make sure you're gone first." The crowd roared louder, chanting now, not just justice but names. Crowd Sergeant. The name twisted from authority into shame, echoing back at him with venom. Narration sliced through. Power was never meant to be eternal. It eroded under the weight of its own abuse. And tonight, erosion turned to collapse. Marcus raised his phone, dialed with deliberate calm. "Marcus, this is Agent Johnson. Confirming contact. I need internal affairs and federal oversight dispatched immediately. We have live evidence, hostile officers, and an active crowd. Priority clearance." The sergeant's face drained. "Sergeant, you called them already?" Marcus, meeting his eyes, "We always prepare for corruption." The crowd gasped, realizing reinforcements were coming. The cops shifted, cornered animals sensing the cage snapping shut. Cop number 2, whispering, "We're screwed. We're actually screwed." Cop Tress, desperate, "Not. If we push back, we can." Maya, sharp as a knife, "One wrong move, and obstruction becomes assault on federal agents. Think carefully." Silence, the kind that swallows whole cities before storms break. The crowd pressed closer, phones held high like shields of light. The cops could feel it now, their intimidation slipping, their empire cracking in real time. Narration settled heavy. For years, they wrote the stories. Tonight, they became the story. The sergeant's shoulders slumped, rage collapsing into something. The crowd erupted, some cheering, some weeping, others just standing in stunned silence. Crowd voice, finally, another. He's done. He's finished. Marcus faced the remaining officers, his voice steady. Marcus, you followed him. You enabled him. Some of you enjoyed it. That ends now. Cooperate, and maybe there's redemption. Resist, and you'll fall with him. Silence. Then, slowly, more badges hit the hoods of cruisers. Narration closed in. The wall of silence crumbled, stone by stone. The fortress of abuse collapsed from the inside, weakened not by bullets, but by truth. Maya stepped forward, addressing the crowd, her voice rising over the flashing lights. Maya, tonight is not just about us. It's about every person who's ever been silenced, beaten, or ignored. Your voices carried us here, and your voices will carry justice further than ours ever could. The chant began again, louder than before, not just justice now, but something stronger. Crowd, no more fear, no more fear. The sergeant, handcuffed and shoved toward a federal car, thrashed one last time. Sergeant Mills, shouting, you think this ends me? You think you've won? The system won't change. Marcus.com/final, then you'll be its first casualty. Narration lingered like thunder. The hunter was caged. The system cracked. And from the fracture, hope bled into the night. The chapter closed with the crowd chanting, the officers disarmed, and the twins standing tall, no longer suspects, no longer prey, but symbols of resistance forged in fire. Weeks later, the bar was quiet again. No flashing lights, no shouts, no chants, just the muted hum of conversation and the clink of glasses. But the memory of that night lingered in every corner, as if the walls themselves refused to forget. On the mounted television above the bar, news anchors spoke with urgency. Anchor TV, former Sergeant Raymond Mills, along with 5 officers from his precinct, now face federal charges, including obstruction of justice, abuse of power, and civil rights violations. Public outcry continues as community members demand deeper investigations into systemic misconduct across the state. The screen shifted footage of the night replayed, the crowd chanting, the badges raised. The moment Mills was cuffed, face pale under the weight of his own downfall, Maya and Marcus sat side by side in a booth, their eyes on the screen but their thoughts elsewhere. Maya, softly, it still doesn't feel real. Marcus, nodding slowly, because it isn't over. This is just the first crack. Narration pressed close. Justice is never clean. It drags through courts and headlines, through protests and petitions, but sometimes, justice looks like a man once untouchable, shackled in plain sight. The bartender, the same young man who had filmed everything that night, set down 2 coffees. His hands shook slightly, not from fear now, but reverence. Bartender, you changed everything. People are speaking up who never would have dared before. They're calling you heroes. Maya, meeting his eyes, heroes bleed just like anyone else. We just refused to stay silent. Marcus, steady, don't call us heroes. Call the ones who kept filming, who kept chanting, who refused to bow their heads. They lit the fire. We just carried it. The bartender swallowed hard, nodding, his eyes wet. From the booth behind them, an older man with weathered hands leaned over. Older man, I lost my son to them 2 years ago. Same department. They said he resisted, said they feared for their lives. There were no cameras back then, no FBI agents, just lies. Tonight, for the first time, I feel like he's been seen. Maya's throat tightened. She reached across the booth, laying a hand on his. Maya, your son mattered, and they can't bury that anymore. The man nodded, tears spilling, the weight of years finally cracking. Narration lingered. Justice is not resurrection. It cannot bring back the lost, but it can name the guilty, and it can remind the living that silence is no longer their burden. The television shifted again, footage of Mills being led into court, reporters shouting questions, his once proud stride now shackled, his words drowned out by the roar of the press. Anchor TV, the case has sparked national debate on racial profiling, accountability, and the role of federal oversight. Demonstrations are scheduled in over a dozen cities this weekend. Marcus exhaled slowly. Marcus, he wanted control. He got a stage instead. Maya, half smiling. Poetic justice. A young woman from the crowd that night approached the booth, phone still in her hand. She hesitated, then spoke quickly. Young woman, I just wanted to thank you. My little brother saw the videos. He told me he's not scared of walking home anymore. He said, if anyone tries something, the truth will catch them. You gave him hope. Maya's eyes softened. Maya, then it was worth every second. The woman left, and silence settled again, filled only by the low buzz of the TV. Marcus leaned back, his voice quieter now, more reflective. Marcus, do you think this changes things? Really changes them. Maya, after a pause, not all at once. The system doesn't fall in a night, but cracks, spread, and every truth we force into the light makes it weaker. Narration carried the thought. Power resists, but truth